Lamar Jackson yesterday took to Twitter right before John Harbaugh was about to speak at the owners' meetings in Phoenix. And he said that back on March 2nd, he had requested a trade. Kind of feels like a Deshaun Watson situation minus the sexual misconduct allegations with Lamar Jackson. So Lamar Jackson has asked out, and seemingly this now opens the door, I think, for even more teams to maybe get involved. Because before this, yeah, he was available with that non-exclusive franchise tag, but there was always the thought that the Ravens would match any offer, and there wouldn't necessarily be a team that would be all in on doing the Ravens negotiating for them. Now, with the fact that he's unhappy, if Lamar Jackson plays it the way Deshaun Watson intended to play it, he doesn't show up to anything. He makes things really uncomfortable for that Ravens organization. All of a sudden, I think the idea of Lamar being dealt is certainly a lot more realistic right now than it was 24 hours ago.
The Baltimore Ravens can enter into a conversation with somebody else to get more compensation. They can work something out so that Lamar gets traded, and they don't have to do the 2 first-round picks. That is the franchise tag, the non-exclusive franchise tag compensation. Now, it gets a little complicated, but, yeah, they could find something that works for them and works for Lamar Jackson. And I have to imagine that the Ravens are at least amicable to a life without Lamar Jackson. If they felt like they had to have Lamar Jackson, they would be doing everything they can to make sure that Lamar Jackson at least is playing in 2023 for the Baltimore Ravens. But it doesn't seem like they're doing everything they can do to make sure he plays in 2023. They gave him the non-exclusive tag to let him go test the market, and it just takes one for Lamar. That's what he's got to do. He's got to find one, and then the Ravens, they're in a rough spot if Lamar wants to play dirty with them, because he could just no-show all the way up until the Saturday before week 1, sign his franchise tender. What are they going to do? Not play Lamar Jackson if he's in camp, even though he didn't go to training camp? They're just going to not have him on the roster? He gets his money.
I looked into it. He has till week 10 to decide if he wants to sign the franchise tag tender. Week 10. So he could really drag this out, derail the entire Ravens season, and then sign the tag, get most of that money.
Well, he doesn't get paid for all the games he sits out. It's not like he gets paid the full value of the franchise.
No, but
tag.
it'd be the value from that point forward,
right,
when he signs it.
So there's something at stake for Lamar. This is not just screwing over the Ravens and not partially.
But ultimately,
himself.
getting traded, there's more money. He'll make up that money on the back end because you assume the team acquiring him is going to give him that contract he wants.
But what I was saying is he shows up week 1. He gets every bit of the money that he's owed on the franchise tag, and the Ravens just make him inactive every week. They're just not going to play him. He gives them the best chance to win. They don't have a quarterback that's better than Lamar Jackson on the team, even if he doesn't show up for training camp in a new offense.
Why would they not play him?
I don't know. I guess they would.
How healthy is he?
He's going to show up and...
They have a new offensive coordinator. If he's not around the team till week 1, how many plays does he know?
Yeah, no training camp, no new offense, and I guess they play him, but...
If he's going to be gone after next year anyways, they don't care if he gets hurt. Throw him out there.
He might be a detriment to the team at that point, though. That's the fear.
Well, watching Anthony Brown play is a detriment to all of us. I think they'd rather go with Lamar Jackson than him. I just don't know. I think the Ravens are this team, or they're the side with the leverage here. I've felt that way for a long time, and I still feel that way. I still feel like there's too much going against Lamar Jackson, from the tag to the way players, agents, and teams have operated since Deshaun Watson's contract came out last year. I still feel like the Ravens are in the position of power in these negotiations, and the ball is still in their court.
D'Amico Ryans at the owners' meetings was asked yesterday about Lamar Jackson. This was the Texans head coach answering that question.
We look at, all options for our team. We look at all options for our team, so that falls into that category as well.
So D'Amico said that yesterday, and then there's a tweet from the guy who just got paid without an agent, the highest paid offensive lineman in NFL history, Laremy Tunsil. He tweeted, "Was up. Come to the city with the H sign at Lamar Jackson." So Laremy Tunsil openly recruiting for the Texans to go after Lamar Jackson. Then Paul Wall even joined the recruitment too with a tweet of his own. I don't know if that one carries as much weight as Tunsil, but hey, I'll say this. If any team could land Lamar, I think the Texans have one of the best chances to do it from this standpoint. That second overall pick gives the Ravens their answer at quarterback. If they make a trade with Indy, yeah, that 4th pick is probably in the deal, but guess what? You're getting maybe the 4th best option at quarterback. Who knows if the Baltimore Ravens even love whoever the 4th quarterback is off the board. Let's say it's Levis or Anthony Richardson. If you're the Texans and you put number 2 on the table, that carries more weight than basically any other offer that's going to be out there because Carolina's not in on Lamar Jackson. So if the Texans were serious about making a run for Lamar, I think they're one of the few teams that actually could get it done.
They certainly possess the ability to get it done. They possess the money. You look at the salary cap situation beyond this season, the Texans have a lot of open money, even with the payment to Laramie Tunsil. I would ask, hey, Laramie, if you want Lamar here, you want to give back a couple of bucks? You want to kick in a little bit?
Nah, we don't need Lamar here. Never mind.
Oh, okay.
That tweet will be deleted within 2 minutes.
Yeah.
If the Texans ask him for a pay cut.
Hey, can you kick back in a few bucks, Laramie, just to make sure we get this Lamar thing done? You know what? Bryce Young looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Bryce Young looks pretty good. They certainly possess, with the additional first-round picks, they possess a situation that is not as detrimental from a value given up standpoint. And I saw somebody put it this way on Twitter today. You pay twice for Lamar. You pay with compensation to get him, and then you pay with his contract. And the Texans, with additional draft compensation via the Deshaun Watson trade, the Texans have the ability to, in a sense, pay that price twice. They can pay with draft capital, still have draft capital, and then they have the money to pay Lamar Jackson a big contract. Now, exactly what Lamar Jackson wants is still sort of up in the air. Some people are saying Lamar doesn't want the fully guaranteed contract. Okay, well, does he want a 90% guaranteed contract? Because that's essentially fully guaranteed. Does he want an 80% guaranteed contract? Does he want this, percentage of the salary cap type contract that we've heard? Like, the conversation with Lamar about exactly what he wants, I feel like would be one of those situations that would really help clarify how likely it is Lamar's leaving and what the Ravens' ultimate situation is in that conversation.
From the trade side of things, why would anyone try to help out Baltimore? I feel like every team that is interested in Lamar Jackson wants to wait until after this year's draft to make it happen.
I don't know if you could get him, though, if you're a team like the Texans, I don't know if you could get him without being willing to offer that second pick.
You're not offering the Ravens a trade, though. You're offering Lamar Jackson a contract.
But you have to trade for him.
Right, with 2 first-round picks. But if the trade happens after the draft, then it's next year's first, and then the year after that's first.
Correct.
So why, like the Texans and the Colts, like if you acquire Lamar Jackson, you're not thinking you're going to be drafting in the top 5 anytime soon. Most of these teams, regardless of if you're picking in the top 5 this year, if you're in on Lamar, you're thinking, oh man, let's wait this thing out until after the draft, because if we're able to get this guy, then the draft picks we give up are for next year and the year after that. Those won't be nearly as valuable. I don't know if anyone's going to put in a firm offer until after the draft is over.
Well, what if the Ravens then just match the offer and then you don't get him? My whole point is I think with the second overall pick, the Ravens don't match the offer, and you can get him. And you could beat some of these other teams to the punch. And it's not going to cost you 3 first-round picks like Deshaun Watson did or the Russell Wilson package, because the second overall pick, if you look at like the Jimmy Johnson draft value chart, is worth way more than some of these other picks that have been exchanged in these previous QB deals. So that'd be my theory. You're right. But I think the Ravens could just match the offer at that point. If you want him before the draft, you want to get him locked in, you offer the second overall pick as part of the package here, knowing full well there's a chance they say yes. If they're truly done with Lamar and they don't think they're ever going to be able to work out a long-term deal, you're giving the Ravens an avenue to draft their quarterback of the future.
BK presents a interesting option here. Now, it's a thread the needle option, and Jake, you talked about the what if it goes wrong. The what if it goes right is a pretty fascinating one, because let's pretend the Houston Texans used 2-12 to improve this team, and the Sunday after the draft, in the midst of some undrafted free agents getting signed, the Texans call up Lamar Jackson and say, here's a contract, take it to the Ravens. You got 5 days. And if you say yes, you're a Texan, and we'll send them next year's first from us, and we'll send them the year after's first from us, and we still have a first-round pick next year. And, oh, by the way, we just used 2-12 to make this team better because we got Will Anderson and whoever else they get at 12. I mean, Lamar's going to be excited because, A, you're paying him a bunch of money, and he's going to say, that's the big element to this, is if, BK, your ultimate thing about Lamar Jackson is correct in that he just wants the money, he doesn't care if Baltimore pays him if the money shows up.
Right.
We've seen guys be upset with the situation that they're in, and next thing you know, the money shows up, and all of a sudden they're the happiest campers in the world.
Remember Deebo Samuel requested a trade, and then 3 weeks later he got that deal, and it's all good.
Yeah, so if Lamar Jackson gets the contract offer, once he signs it, he's getting that money. It doesn't matter if it's from the Baltimore Ravens or the team that he signs with. He knows he's going to get that contract and get that money. So Lamar's good with signing the contract. He could, I suppose, he could say, hey, like, let's not do it this way. Let's try to make it so that the Ravens, can't match, so I don't end up with the Ravens, or he could tell the Ravens, hey, don't match. Well, okay, Lamar, you're getting exactly what you want. We're going to match the contract. You're sticking around. Everybody knows you. You know the team. You know the head coach. You know where the facility is, yada, 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 all those things. Like, you really want to leave? Like, that's what it is. Like, they're going to match if they feel like they're capable of matching. But, hey, maybe if you put the contract on the table, it's nice enough. They don't want to make the big payment.
Yeah, I just wonder if there's a way you could find out from Baltimore, even Tampa, to make it happen to where you just basically have some sort of handshake agreement in place that here's the offer we're going to make him. Are you going to match? If the answer's no, then all right, we're not drafting a quarterback. If the answer's yes, then we're drafting a quarterback.
Nick Caserio, get on the phone with Eric DaCosta and talk it through.
You got a month.